Hey everyone, welcome back to our daily update. Today it's day 11, March the 14th, 2017. Okay, in the last 24 hours regarding TowerGate or Obamagate or whatever we like to call it, a couple very interesting developments. First, very interesting development is kind of funny because I did a video, I guess I've mentioned this a couple times in previous videos, that the Central Intelligence Agency is not permitted, according to their charter, to conduct surveillance operations inside the United States and especially on American citizens. But as I told you, having studied many declassified CIA operations over the years, I know that when they want to spy on someone in the United States, they do it anyway. And the way they do it is they do it by using a foreign intelligence agency. In this case, I refer to the British Intelligence Agency, GHCQ. GHCQ is essentially the UK's version of the NSA. Now, you have to understand that there is a sharing of information that automatically, electronically happens. Anything that the NSA is collecting automatically gets directed toward GHCQ and vice versa. So there's always this ongoing sharing of intelligence. And of course, there's very close relationship between the intelligence agencies. So again, this would suggest that John Brennan, head of the CIA at that time, would have delegated someone to go over to the UK and speak with one of their agents there at GHCQ, and they would have done the wiretaps or what have you. And that information would then be given back to the CIA here in the United States and then passed on to Obama, or anyone they chose to pass the information on to. So, as I mentioned, that is a very real possibility. And of course, you wouldn't find any electronic footprints of that, no evidence of that, no paper trail, nothing like that. So this is certainly the way you'd want to conduct an illegal operation. And Obama is probably smart enough that that's exactly how he would have done it. John Brennan certainly would have understood that. Of course, we know John Brennan hasn't had anything to say. He's like Loretta Lynch. He's MIA. Now, this morning, Judge Napolitano went on Fox News and told Brian Kilmeade exactly what I just told you, that there is a direct automatic system set up for sharing of information, and that sometimes the British will conduct intelligence surveillance on American citizens or on people inside the United States on behalf of the American intelligence agencies, who by their charter are not permitted to do this. So that's what Napolitano told Brian Kilmeade this morning. So he had Kilmeade's little beady eyes rolling around in his head at this revelation, because apparently he doesn't know this. Of course, I have known this for many years, and that's why I suggested it several times in previous videos. So and also we do have the connection between this Christopher Steele, who was the assuming he's ex-intelligence for MI6, and he obviously has a relationship with somebody in American intelligence. Not sure how high that goes, but anyway, Christopher Steele might have been the intermediary. So that's a very interesting development, and again, it really can't be proven. Even Napolitano told Kilmeade that if that is exactly how this was done, then you'll never really find any records of that. You can't really subpoena British intelligence or anyone like that. They're not going to show up, and if they did, if you forced them over here, that they wouldn't talk anyway. They would just clam up. So anyhow, this is a very interesting fact. One other interesting fact comes from an individual who goes by the name of Ron Johnson. I do not know Ron Johnson. I've never really heard of him before. In fact, I don't even believe that's his real name. But he's another one of these kind of anonymous people out there that are dropping information that's pretty much anonymous. But he came up with something that's very interesting if it is proven true. And what he came up with is that we know that the FBI went and got a warrant, criminal warrant, to look at the server, which may or may not have been located in Trump Towers. We don't know the exact location of that server. But we know that because this server was getting pinged, which means there was an attempt by another computer server to contact this server, that's a ping, and the FBI picked up on this. This is what we're told led them to want to get a warrant to look into that server, which of course turned up nothing. But it appears, if Mr. Johnson is correct, that the server in question that was being pinged, that's leads to Trump, was apparently maybe a false flag server. In other words, not even a real Trump server. And he is stating that through his investigation, he's learned that the person who pays the bills for that server and who ultimately set up that server was actually someone named Emily McMullen. Now, some of you may remember her brother, Evan McMullen. He was the guy who was running in Utah to try to, I don't think he had any serious intentions of winning Utah, but his plan was to split the conservative or Republican vote in Utah to keep Trump from being able to secure those electoral votes so that they would go to Hillary Clinton. Now, he claims he's a conservative, Republican, whatever. But Mr. McMullen, in fact, we do know was either ex-CIA, ex-intelligence, or he's still in the intelligence community. We don't really know. And keep in mind, Emily McMullen, who allegedly set up this server, which turned out to be the cause of the warrant, is his sister. Now, Mr. McMullen also is believed to have very close ties to both the Clintons and John McCain. There seems to be a little cabal working there. So this may have had something to do, if it's true, with the collusion between McCain and the Clintons. If Mr. McMullen, if Evan McMullen is actually part of that cabal, and it appears that his sister may have set up the server that led to the warrant being issued by the FBI, which means that this server, even though it was registered as a Trump server, maybe Trump and his people had no idea the server even existed. In other words, Emily McMullen may have, working with her brother possibly, or some other intelligence agency, or the Clintons or McCain or whoever, this little cabal, may have set up this server and then had these Russian entities pinging this server, or doing something that looked like Russians were pinging the server, and then possibly giving this information to Comey or someone at the FBI, drawing their attention to it, leading them to set up the warrant to look at this server, which would further feed into this Trump and Russia program that they're running. So these are some very interesting facts that are coming up in the past 24 hours. Probably the two most important things. So it's like I always say, it's drip, drip, drip. So these little things will continue to pop up. It's also very interesting, by the way, we know that Valerie Jarrett moved in with Barack Obama. You know, we have to assume that Barack Obama at this point probably believes that now that Trump's in charge of the government, that he may now have his people spying on Obama. And my guess is the reason that Valerie Jarrett moved into Barack Obama's house is because they didn't want to communicate electronically or by phone. They want to be able to speak face to face in some place they assume is safe. And I guess Obama feels pretty comfortable that his multi-room mansion there in D.C., 2 blocks from the White House, is not being surveilled. But, you know, and of course Obama and Brennan and all those people, formerly holdovers, are still there at the CIA and in the intelligence community until Trump roots all those people out. They're still there and able to cause mischief. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Brennan and Obama and the Clintons and other people still have sources inside the intelligence community working against Trump on the inside. So these are very interesting developments. But I think just to point before I end the video, that there's really 2 ways the Trump administration can kind of go at this thing. Obviously, you're going to go at the top and try to figure out who may be organizing or putting together this program to try to take down Trump, first to keep him from being president, and now to try to get him impeached or what have you. this is one way, but that's going to be a little tough to do. It will require a lot of time, and you're going to have to get some people to come and testify against the hierarchy of these intelligence communities, because these individuals, if they're called in front of Congress, are simply going to lie. I mean, they're simply not going to tell the truth. So I really think that what would be real important for Trump to do right now, for a couple of reasons, is that they really need to focus on the leaker. It will be much easier to find a leaker or leakers than it will be to find the top person. I think you maybe want to start from the bottom up. From the bottom, find the leaker. Find out who they're connected to. See if you can get them to turn. See if you can get them to give you some information, because they may be acting, these leakers may be acting individually on their own, but they could very well be acting in coordination. It appears to me that they're acting in coordination simply because the timing of all the leaks. And so if I were Trump, I would be working really, really hard on finding the leaker or leakers. I think they're different, but I think they're all connected. And Trump needs to get a couple scalps. He needs to get a couple scalps because he needs to, at least ways, make the people who are still in the intelligence community, who are working against him, think twice before they leak any more information. They need to see some of their comrades carted off in handcuffs and taken to prison. That might cool them off a bit. And it certainly would give Trump control of the narrative. And also because it'll be much easier to find these people, because these types of leaks are coming directly from the people who work in signal intelligence. And this is not a large amount of people. It's probably in the several hundreds of people is all that you're having to look at, as opposed to looking at the entire intelligence community, which is too vast to even begin to try to piece out an investigation against them. So I think that they need to focus on finding who is the leaker or leakers, because it won't take nearly as long, and they should be able to find this out. If in fact these FISA warrants exist, this was all done through signal intelligence, they should be able to find out every person who would have been able to have access to the equipment and the protocols that they use. And so it shouldn't be hard to find out who the people were who were actually involved. And then all you have to do then is figure out which of them or individuals were possibly the leakers. And again, I think that this is the way to go for the Trump administration. Again, as I've said in previous videos, relying on the Senate Intelligence Committee or the House Oversight Committee, I don't think will produce you nothing. I think they're terrified of the deep state. I think they love the deep state. I think they worship the deep state. I don't think they'll do anything to do any harm to the deep state. So I don't look for anything to happen there. I really believe that you're going to have to appoint a special prosecutor or independent counsel. Sessions has said he may do that. I think he should do that. Maybe he's going to wait and see how the congressional hearings go, see what is learned, and then maybe use that as the information learned from that, to use that as the reason to appoint a special prosecutor. But whatever they do, they need to be moving very quickly. As I said yesterday, they need to be cleaning house at the top layer of senior management officials at the CIA and the NSA and most of the other intelligence agencies for that matter. And they need to be doing that, but they also need to simultaneously really be honing in on the people at Signal Intelligence, find out who were the actual players that actually did the surveillance, look at the FISA warrant, find out who was involved in that, narrow it down to a few people, investigate them, and find out who the leaker was. Trump needs to get some scalps. He needs to get them pretty quickly. And I think that that's the best route to go. So anyway, that's the developments for today on TowerGate or Obamagate, whatever we're calling this, day 11, March the 14th. I'll continue to watch this story and report on it every day, tell you anything new I've learned. And at this point, that's the two major developments. And if anything comes up later in the day, I'll get it up on YouTube as quickly as possible. And other than that, I'll be back with you tomorrow, and we'll take a look at what's transpired in the next 24 hours. Drip, drip, drip. Alrighty, you guys take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.